In this latest edition of the TWBC Podcast, we talk to one of the world's best overall skiers. He comes to us from Ukraine. He's Danylo Filchenko, and we'll hear from him next.
The expressed views of the guests on this podcast are theirs alone and not necessarily endorsed by the host, TWBC, or any associated sponsor. Conversations that are robust yet balanced, on point and to the point. You are listening to the talk of tournament water skiing. This is the TWBC Podcast. And now, here's your host, Tony Lightfoot.
Well, greetings one and all, and this is the aforementioned Tony Lightfoot, and this is the TWBC Podcast coming to you from Recetto, the home of the Italian water ski team, and the host of the Open European Water Ski Championships. Now, I have interviewed this guest on at least a couple of occasions before, but the circumstances under which those interviews took place meant that they took place over an online platform, whether it be a Google Chat or Facebook Messenger, for obvious reasons. But now he is here and he is live in the flesh. We get to do our first face-to-face interview for the TWBC Podcast, and the person to whom I'm referring to is none other than Danylo Filchenko. How are you doing?
Doing good, Tony. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thanks for doing this podcast again with me, live, face-to-face, and happy to be on.
Yes, now obviously the circumstances behind putting those first two podcasts was quite evident because Ukraine itself was and is still under attack by Russian forces, and you were very, very vocal and very, very let's just say vocal about your reaction about what happens and what continues to happen at the under the arms of the Russians right now. Obviously, you've got something to say about that. Right.
Yeah. I'd like to add that I was vocal, and also you heard true emotions. You basically called me, was it one of the first few weeks since the war started in Ukraine? So I was still, afraid and didn't know what to expect, what was going to happen next, how far Russian troops were going to move towards my home city. And you heard my true emotions on that podcast.
Obviously, and I mean, how much has changed since that time? Because the Russians invaded in the early part of February, right?
Yeah, 24th of February, 2022.
That date has got to be seared into the minds and the memories of every single one who was...
of course. Yeah, every single Ukrainian knows that day, and it's the day of...
infamy.
Yeah, Russians and Putin's end.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story. When we were moving cars from Europe to Ukraine with my dad, we were moving from Dnipro, which is the east. We were moving towards the west to the Polish border to pick up the cars, and we had on the way, obviously, a lot of block posts with army troops, Ukrainian forces, and they were stopping before you get into one city, and before you get out, they stop you, check your passport and everything. And in the western of Ukraine, in one of those block, posts, there was Putin's funeral stone.
Oh, a tombstone.
And it said his death was 24/02/2022. I thought it was kind of funny, but it's kind of true.
Well, it's certainly. I mean, there's been a lot of tragic moments, a lot of things that some people wish hadn't have happened, But I mean, but we're now in August, actually in September. I beg your pardon, getting ready for the European Championships. So I mean, and quite a bit has happened. I mean, instead of being in Ukraine, I mean, you were able to get out and you were able to ski and train and compete. So tell us how that's gone so far.
Well, first of all, everything that I was able to do, go out and compete, get out of the country and go train in France, then in Italy, and then go compete and win at the World Games, which was very important. I have to be very thankful for the armed forces of Ukraine, that they were able to hold defense and push back and not let the Russian troops come into my city, and many other cities. And I'm thankful for them that I was able to go out and train and still compete. Everything is just thanks to the armed forces of Ukraine. Second of all, about my season, I was able to go outside, like I said, train, compete at World Games. Then, because we weren't allowed to be on the water, we weren't allowed to drop the boats in the water due to martial law, due to constant air sirens, which meant the air danger. You had to, hide in basements and bombshells. Still to this day, we have this same situation in Dnipro. But we were allowed to drop boats in the water and compete since end of July, something like that. So after I came back from World Games, I went back to Ukraine because I had to. And as you may know, men aged 18 through 60 are not allowed to leave the country unless you have three kids under the age of 18, or if you have some kind of disability. And there are other things which one of them is athlete competing in international events. So I was able to come back to Ukraine after World Games and continue training in Ukraine, even though sometimes we had to stop in the middle of the set and wait for the air siren to stop going on. And sometimes we heard the air defense system working in the air just above us. Air defense system, for people that don't know, that it's stationed. There are different types, but in Ukraine they are stationed on the ground, and they
surface-to-air missiles.
Right, and then if there's a missile coming in, flying, they detect it, and then they shoot another missile to hit it in the air, so it doesn't hit the
infrastructure on the ground.
Exactly, whatever they were trying to hit. And sometimes you hear those explosions in the air, and we see them.
How's that affected infrastructure on the ground? I mean, because you are a member of the Sentosa team, which is not only has like the tournament water ski element behind the boat, but also has the cable and the cable wakeboard and what have you, and all of that facility, which is certainly actually one of the better facilities that you'll find anywhere in the world where it combines cable and traditional boat water skiing.
Right. Thanks for that. Thank you for the compliment. Yes. It is a great place. It's in the middle of the city, and everyone who came knows how good it is and how cool it is there. And we're, very excited to have actually this European Championships. They were supposed to take place in Dnipro this year, but due to the war, it was moved to Recetto. It has not been affected, thank God, and I don't want to. You
don't want to tempt fate.
Exactly. So, but we have made some changes. We have moved many of our boats to a different part of Ukraine. And since end of July, Cable Park was reopened, and people started, because it's a war in Ukraine. A lot of things that don't work. A lot of people lost their jobs, and but there are still people that want to live a somewhat normal life and go to restaurants or things like that.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that wanted to, we have a lot of amateurs, the skiers, a lot of amateur wakeboarders that wanted to ski and wakeboard behind the cable. So they've asked our president of the federation to reopen if it's possible, and we did. So now it is fully working, and our stadium is working too. But again, when air sirens are working, and when they're in the air, we hear them, we have to stop and wait till it's over. And we have to not just stop, we have to go in the bombshell and wait.
And I mean, it just sounds like a surreal situation. I mean, I actually spoke to someone who is at LSU, which is in Baton Rouge, exactly where I came from, you know. And I mean, she's Bulgarian, and I mean, and Bulgaria is part of NATO, and Bulgaria is really closer to Ukraine on the southern, towards the south, you know, and. She said that she finds it surreal and sad that even in this day and age that there should be a situation where you have tanks rolling into a country, you have bombers bombers are just displacing and killing people and all that kind of stuff, you know. So
yeah, I mean, we were not ready for that. We weren't expecting that, of course, especially from our neighbor. So yeah, it's a really tough situation. It's a war, and it's a full-on war, and it's a lot of terrorist attacks and you know, a lot of crimes. It's not just you know, it's not a clean war that's followed by war laws. They don't follow any laws. They kill civilians, and it's true, and they torture them and do many things, and that I don't want to mention here, but that are disgusting. But it's true, they do that. The Russian troops are doing that, and yeah, it's a real bad situation that we're in. It's a really bad enemy that we have nearby us, and not just, you know, it doesn't put only us at danger. It puts every, you know, European country at danger. So. Yeah, we're fighting, and you know, everyone knows who we are fighting. And now they showed their face, but you know, recently, I don't know for anyone if they follow, but we are getting some good news recently on the front line. We started, you know, pushing back and moving and kicking them out and moving towards this. There are some great news on the south. We're about to
over at Donetsk and
no. The Donetsk is the east.
Donetsk,
there's Kherson. Kherson, it's on the south that they've occupied. There's about 20,000 Russian troops, and Ukrainian armed forces are now getting them in the circle.
Close to reclaiming Crimea as well.
Yeah. Well, we have been hitting some of the. What you call them? The
placement.
No, like the warehouses where they keep
stockpile their weapons
and rockets and everything like that. We've been hitting some of those military infrastructure in Crimea, and thanks to American HIMARS systems. So, yeah.
Indeed. So, getting here to the European Championships, I mean, obviously this ties into what's happening in Ukraine right now, but because there are no passenger flights in and out of Ukraine right now,
yes.
whether it's going to Dnipro or Kyiv or anywhere else in that country, you know. So you've had to drive from Dnipro to get all the way here, and that's about 5-6 hours, right, or even more.
5-6 days.
5-6 days. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, it's actually about 3,000 kilometers. So it should take about 3 full days, maybe 2.5 if you're fast. But it took 4 full days for us. We had some issues on the border, and just let's leave it there. We had some issues on the way, and it took longer than expected. So. Yes, it was 4 full days of travel all the way from Dnipro to Italy.
Now, during the course of the season, you've traveled as far as Birmingham, Alabama. You competed in the World Games. You actually won the jump event, right?
Yeah. I won the jump event and got second in tricks, and was, you know, very, very happy to raise the flag. Very happy to sing the national anthem of Ukraine. It's very important during these days to to present Ukraine and show the world that we're here, and, you know, raising Ukrainian flags, and we get to talk with many other people from other countries and explain our story and tell them what's really happening in Ukraine. So.
Yeah, because that must have been an opportunity for you as a Ukrainian athlete here at the world stage at multisports games such as the World Games to tell your story and actually see the amount of support that's out there, at least on the other side of the Atlantic, yes. for what's going on.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people, many people that have been to Alabama know how welcoming they are and how nice of a people they are in Alabama. A lot of fans just came up and supported, said the words of support, and there was actually another lady that came up and asked if she could pray right next to me, so she started praying next to me, and a lot of skiers that came up and asked about the situation, and I was able to explain them. And many of them didn't know what I said, didn't know or didn't hear in the news. I'm thankful for every single person who comes up and asks us how we're doing and things like that, because it is a really really bad situation that all Ukrainians are in, and many people don't even understand what some Ukrainians are going through.
And in the World Games, and we're going to touch upon something else that actually happened at the World Games that wasn't quite as as pleasant, because you mentioned that you won the jump, you got the second in tricks. Now the circumstances behind what actually happened afterwards, with your disagreements about the scoring or what have you, with the tricks that got you that second place, are still resonating a little bit today, going into these European Championships. Considering that at least one or two of the officials that were actually there at the World Games
are here too,
are here as well. So how do you manage that, if you care to comment?
Of course, I care to comment. I don't manage it at all. I am who I am. We'll see what happens here, but all I can say is it happens almost at every trick event, and all this drama. It started happening to me more often than I was expecting. But every tricker knows, and almost every skier knows that if there's tricks involved in the competition, there's going to be some drama. So I think it has to change, and at least I'm fighting for fairness. I think I'm a pretty fair guy, and I've always fought for fair competition, and all I can say is, I think judges are here to establish fair competition, and there are some cases that I think weren't fair, But all I want to say is I respect every person. Not just I respect the judges, obviously, but I also respect every human being. Depends on their personal characters, or not character, personal. I'm sorry for my English. I haven't had much experience talking in English recently.
That's fine.
But there's nothing bad to say about a certain judge or a certain person. It's just work. It's just business, basically, for me, and I think for them too. It's work, and it's a work in process. Sometimes emotions get involved on the both sides, but obviously I'm the one who's working hard, coming and competing, and my result is on the line, my medals are on the line, so of course I will fight for it. fight for my result, and if I feel that there was no fair competition or fair result towards me, and of course I will try to
challenge it.
Yes. So that's all that happened. But many people don't know exact story that happened there. Haven't seen it. They've just seen from the Facebook probably.
Yeah.
But there was no webcast even, so nobody knows the really what happened. But I'll tell you what, every single person that was there knows what happened, and every single person that was there have seen it. So that's all that matters.
Okay, so going a little bit from that, I've heard that there are recent developments in technology now. Splash Eye is probably just a few months away from having their system of actually electronically scoring tricks to be certified and to be used in tournaments. Now, obviously, it's another issue where technology seems to be taken over from stuff from boat path management and then way before that, speed control and everything. Do you reckon that this is a step in the right direction as far as you're concerned to establish what you would call fairness?
I think it will decrease the human error mistakes. But I know it's something that they press the button, and if they give the trick or not. I think it will definitely. In my situation, that happened a few times. I think it would have helped. It would have helped because there were, at least in the last season, there were 2 times that there was a mistake made by the human error. From the judge's perspective, and they've said it. They've apologized for the error that they've made. So I think this might help decrease the chances of human error. But yeah, that's it.
All right then. So let's look forward to these European Championships. Yeah. Obviously. You've had limited time on the water. You probably haven't trained all that much, or nearly at the intensity that you typically train at in an ordinary season. Ordinary as in before 2019 or before 2020 as a matter.
2021.
2021. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It almost seems like longer ago now. Yeah. But you're looking forward to these championships now. Under normal circumstances, not only would this be a championship for the medals and all that kind of stuff, but it would be another opportunity for you to have a crack at the world overall record. Now, are you, in the current skiing condition that you're at, with the practice that you've had, would you say that you have even the remote chance of getting a score that will be close to the overall world record at these championships, or maybe a little bit further along in the season if there's an overall competition available?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think maybe I can get close, but even though I believe in myself, and I think in the future I will be able to challenge, and maybe I don't want to say strong words here, break it or something like that, because we don't, you never know. But I'm training, I'm competing every day. So I think every competitor wants to break a record, or be a world champion or things like that. All I want to say that in this season, after World Games that I've returned to Ukraine, I haven't received my 3-event bag, thanks to KLM. Shout out.
The KLM, the same favorite airline of Freddie Winter.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
The same thing.
Same thing. San Gervasio last year.
Yeah, and so for 3 weeks I haven't had my skis, and I only had 2 weeks to prepare for this tournament. But no complaints. I think I'm ready. I feel strong. I feel confident on the water. I've had tons of skiing done in France and Italy prior to World Games, so we'll see. But for world record, I don't think so, Tony. It's going to be tough, especially we're
considering that you need a trick score of over 11,000, a jump of over 72 meters, and you need to get at least halfway down 41 off or 10.25 meters.
I think I can do those scores, but somewhere in the future, So not this tournament. I'm going to try my best, but you also know that I don't think there's ever been a world record broken in Europe. So
or maybe fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, but for sure. But there are too many, many different reasons why. But we'll see. But it's still going to be an interesting competition. It's Recetto is a great. It's one of the best sites in Europe, and people that run it are Dario and Laura are amazing people.
Yeah,
and I want to mention them here and mention Luciano, the president of Italian Federation, because they've supported Ukrainian team this season a lot. They took three kids from Ukraine to spend their summer here to train, and one of them is still here. Misha, he's still 11 years old. Mm-hmm. He's going to compete with me on the team. So it's a great place. We're gonna see some big scores for sure. And I'm very, very excited and happy to be here.
Absolutely, but I'm sure that when you strap on those jump skis and get ready to go out there on jump skis that are not your own, that's going to give you a little bit of nervousness.
I have my skis.
You have your skis,
right?
I thought you said you didn't have your skis.
No, I didn't have my skis for 3 weeks after the World Games, and then I've received them, and I was able to ski for 2 weeks.
But even so, how soon was it before you gained your full confidence enough to be hitting the ramp? Because 3 weeks off the water without your jump skis,
right,
it isn't the most desirable situation.
Yeah, no, I didn't jump, I didn't trick. I was able only to slalom behind an old 196 boat in Ukraine before we got the new boat back from the different part of Ukraine.
And even getting those skis,
I think I had 5 days or 5 sets since World Games before.
So in order to get back from the World Games, you actually had to fly to a different airport outside of Ukraine and then drive the rest of the way, right?
I actually was pretty lucky because they were supposed to arrive in Warsaw, Poland, and I had to return to Ukraine because of because I only had documents to leave for World Games, and then I had to return to Ukraine. So then they showed up in Warsaw, and one of the Muay Thai, the Thailand boxing, that was at World Games, one of the coaches. He was still in Warsaw, and he was, I think, fixing a car that he bought for the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and he received my skis and he brought them to Kiev, and then from Kiev the Ukrainian team, they were traveling from Greece, the European Championship, picked it up. So I was pretty lucky. I didn't have to go anywhere. They brought them to Dnipro.
So an athlete from a completely different sport that happened to be at the World Games assisted you in bringing the skis back.
Yes. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
that's just amazing.
Pretty lucky.
Amazing in itself, and probably speaks to the solidarity of athletes, irrespective of what their sports are in Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, this World Games showed because I've competed in the one before in Poland.
In Wrocław.
Wrocław, yes. I remember how other Ukrainian teams were between each other. Nothing was bad. Just you don't know each other, and you basically don't talk to each other. But this time in the US, if you saw Team Ukraine on the T-shirt, and we've all came to each other and spoke, and we went to support them. We went to support the kickboxing team. We went to support the Muay Thai team. We've met great people from squash. We've
Wow.
made a lot of good friends at the World Games with other sports.
And those friendships cultivate into something, that can help you going a little bit forwards, as was the case with the Muay Thai boxer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and one of the a lot other kickboxers. He actually was second at the World Games. He lives in Kryvyi Rih, which is pretty close to Dnipro, and it's good to have friends from those kind of sports. Sometimes to defend yourself, you can call them up.
Indeed.
Even though now in the fighting is not something you should use in regular life.
Indeed.
Sometimes you need to. Sometimes you need to sometimes you need to shoot back like Ukrainian armed forces.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right then. So beyond these championships, what have you got planned, or is it even possible to plan at this stage?
I mean, since the 24th of February, I think a lot of Ukrainians don't plan very far anymore because it changes a lot. All we can plan for is maybe for next few months maximum. So my plan is to finish this tournament, and I think I go back to Ukraine, we'll ski a bit till it gets cold. And I also work in the construction business. I also do a lot of volunteering help. We have the fund, and that also I want to mention water skier family, water skiers that have donated to my link, and that we were able to do a lot of great things and support the Ukrainian armed forces. So. The plan is to get back to Ukraine, get to work, ski a bit, finish the season. No other tournaments this year that I'm planning.
All right then. So, and typically at this point, I would ask if you have anyone to say thanks to or acknowledged at this point. So I'm going to give this time over to you to do that before we round off this podcast.
Right. I will mention. I can mention many people because they've helped so much this year. I don't want to forget anyone, so I'm not gonna name names. But mostly I gotta thank the Ukrainian armed forces for sure. They're defending us. They're defending every Ukrainian. Thanks to them, and so and everyone who's maybe listening right now who got to this point, I thank you all that have helped me in this season. You all know who you are. I'm really thankful for all of your help, and of course I'm thankful to the president of our Ukrainian Federation, Alexei Martynov. He's actually here with me. He's going to release me and support me in this competition. So also thank you to my parents. I mean, to everyone. I'm a thankful person. I think I try to be. So whoever is listening, if you did something for me or helped me anyway, I thank you very much.
All right, then. That was Danylo Filchenko, and this is Tony Lightfoot, the host of the TWBC Podcast. And until the next episode, it is ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the TWBC Podcast. Be sure to check out our website at waterskibroadcasting.com. Links to our presence on major social media platforms can be found there, as well as updates to our webcast and this podcast. Duplication or rebroadcasting of this broadcast without written consent of TWBC is prohibited. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform and be sure to join us next time for the next edition of the TWBC Podcast.